Hello my friends. Today I want to show you how I prune the apple trees. The way that I keep them. So here's a tree. I'm going to walk back a little bit. I keep my trees almost, if you want to say, like a whipping willow, um, willow style, kind of drooping down, scraggly wood, or you want to call it umbrella style. To keep everything from growing up and keeping branches growing down to slow down the vigor. The art of pruning trees is pretty much you prune them. There's basics, but then you prune it to what your circumstances are, what you need them for. See, I want to be able to get fruit without using a ladder, or even to prune them without a ladder. This tree is like maybe 13, 14 years old, if you were to count them back somewhere there. But I got to them a little too late, so they were already mature, had a big leader, so I had to cut it down, and that's kind of what I was able to make out of it. Just keeping everything downwards, and then, somewhat, if I can keep the top smaller and bottom branches wider, so it kind of creates a Christmas tree effect without the top. That way the top branches and bottom branches all get sun, and this is how I would look at it. So here's a example. So this is last year's growth right here. Last year's growth, and I don't need it this long. I'm going to prune it to, here's that little ring right there, the node, where it went from last year to, well, the year before that, and then last year this grew right here, this length. I don't need it this long because it's just gonna cover the bottom branch here, and it's just too long to hold any fruit. There's a bunch of fruit nodes on it right now, right there, right there, right there. So right here, all over the stem here. So there's gonna be a lot of fruit on it. I can literally just cut it off and not have it grow. But I still like to, get rid of the length, but keep a couple buds on here just so it can continue on growing fruiting spurs. I'm gonna leave like 1, 2, 3 buds, and I cut it down to a bottom one so it grows kind of this way. The one that you leave will be the strongest, on the top, because it's just how all the growth hormones work. They go to the very tip and tops of the branches, and and then it goes less and less as you go down. So if I cut it here, the branch will grow. Obviously the bud is pointed outward, so it's gonna first grow outward like this and then go up. Everything tries to grow upwards. If I leave this one on the top and that bud is pointing upwards, sorry, it's really hard to focus with a bunch of branches. Where is it? Come on. Right there. And this bud's gonna grow up. It's gonna go straight up because it's already pointed upwards. So I want to cut it to this one. So just above the bud right there. That's how I cut it. So I'll get a branch here, and there, and there, and there. And then out of those, on top of those branches, I'll trim them really short as well. And then the way the apple trees grow, or all the seeded trees, they will produce fruit on branches that are 2 years old, 3 years old, and older. And it'll produce this fruiting bud right here. This is last year's fruiting bud. It'll be in this spot and produce fruit for about 12 years or so. and then it'll die off. But so you don't want to ever cut off these unless you want to get rid of your fruit. I mean, if the tree is overloaded, then you probably want to cut some down, but you don't want to get rid of them without knowing. But these are your fruiting buds, and they'll be here for a long time, 11-12 years. This last year's wood, if it's a tip bearing variety, you'll have fruit on the tip. That's right there. You'll have fruit on the tip here, but nowhere here. But next year you'll start producing fruit buds on it. But that's how I trim this down right here on the tip to get all the energy into this side, plus produce a few more branches here that I'll cut down shorter. Because if I keep all that length, it's not gonna hold. You want a nice strong scaffold branch. So there's a big branch coming out, and all the branches are thicker and they're strong. So I prune them down to some to 3 buds and some to 8 buds or so, and that's how they grow out. There's a fruiting spur right there. So there you go. Kind of keeping everything shorter. See, like this branch right here, I'll cut it down to 1, 2, 3. Actually, I'm gonna cut it to this one right there. So now there's a bud right there. It'll grow outward. This is a fruiting branch, so it'll probably grow fruit on the tip, and with weight it'll bend down. It'll be down that way. So some of these shorter growths are fruiting branches as well. So there'll be fruit on the tip of this. So the shape of the tree is based on what you want it to look like. That's an apricot vase shape. Here's another apple tree that had a leader. Don't know if it broke. Most likely it broke off. I moved the trees. Most of these trees were moved around maybe 5-6 years into their growth, so possibly broke. And then the side branch grew out and spread out this way. So also you want to make sure that the tree has equal weight distribution on your branches. You don't want to cut everything to one side because the tree's going to be leaning. So plus the tree will grow on the sides that it's lacking on for weight. Kind of it senses its own growth, I suppose. But everything grows upwards no matter what. Everything tries to grow up. So that's where the top was, and since that top got broken off, it shot out the side branch, or branch busts have been there, and then it's by trimming that caused side growth, but everything still tries to grow up. So lacking the leader, this is a new leader. So a lot of the juice and the growth hormones all going up in these little suckers right here. You can cut them down and cause the growth to happen, and all the other branches kind of spread through the tree before the new shoots grow up. I just kind of quickly went through and pruned all my trees because the lack of time, and then there's still things to prune on them, like this shoot right there. There's a few suckers that are going up, but majority of the branches I've trimmed. But I keep all my trees really low, and I cut down all new growth pretty short, because it'll produce a few branches and a few fruiting buds, a few branches and a few fruiting buds, and every year just the fruiting buds keep adding up, and they produce a lot of fruit here. So that's a basic overlook of the pruning. Of this apple tree here. All right, thank you. Bye.